Welcome everybody to this 33rd Tour de Beauce, fifth and final edition of our nightly recap. I'm joined with Audrey Lemieux. Thank you for being with us tonight again, Audrey.
My pleasure.
This morning in Saint-Georges-de-Beauce, this stage was presented by La Ville de Saint-Georges. It was an urban circuit, 12 laps of a 10.2 kilometer course. And what a challenging course.
What a challenging course, and today it was very warm, especially that climb, doing it 12 times. There is not much rest into that course, and we saw it today, the field was getting shorter as the laps went, and after there was no more field anymore, so there was just groups on the road.
Sergei Tvepkov of the UHC Pro Cycling Team began this day with the yellow jersey, and I do say began the day with the yellow jersey. Although 3 of the last 4 editions of the Tour de Beauce ended with a switch of hands for the yellow jersey on the last hand. UHC had a great team to start this day. All riders were still on the start line, and there was a lot of nervousness before the race, because I think the expectation is now that this final stage is always a tough one.
Yeah, it's always a tough one, and yesterday we were thinking, oh, UHC will control a lot, and they did. They control at the beginning of the race. It was a fast and furious race right from the start. Every year it's like that, and there was an attempt to go in the breakaway, but at kilometer 35, 9 riders went up the road, and that was the main breakaway of the day. So in this breakaway we had Jonathan Brown from Exxon Higgins Berman, Pierre-André Côté from Silver Pro Cycling, Bruno Langlois from Team Quebec, also James Piccoli from Team Canada with his teammate Jordan Cheney, Bruno Langlois from Team Quebec, and Daniel Whitehouse from Interpro Stradilli. So this breakaway was under control in the first couple laps.
There's 2 riders mainly that UHC was concerned about, was
Yes.
Daniel Whitehouse with Interpro, as well as James Piccoli of the Canadian national team. Both riders far but still within shot of the general classification. That breakaway took 2 minute, 2 minute 10, 150, all those kind of gaps, but meant it was stable throughout the whole race.
Yeah, it was pretty stable, but at some points the team UHC, United Healthcare, was at 15 seconds from this breakaway. But that didn't last for so long, and then like you said, it was always maintaining in the same gap. And in the last 30 minutes, the gap was pretty stable at 2 minutes. And James Piccoli, before the start of the stage, was 1 minute 10 behind Sergei Tvepkov, and Daniel Whitehouse was 1 minute 34. So those 2 became the virtual leader of the race for a long time. And after, as I said, there was a lot of group on the road, and at some point there was a Colin Joyce from Rally Cycling that tried to go bridge the breakaway. Unfortunately, he had a crash, so Rally Cycling was out of the general classification. But they were there, they were trying, and by that time, in the last hour, unfortunately for Sergei, he had only 1 teammate left. So it was pretty hard to chase the gap that was around 2 minutes.
So with 4 laps to go, 3 laps to go, 2 laps to go, the gap remains the same. What goes on in that race is simply that UHC was tired. They've been pulling that peloton Friday night, the entire crit yesterday, and today is not a walk in the park. It's a really tough climb. It's a really tough course, and our friends from UHC were probably devastated at the end of the race, but every ounce of energy were let on that course here today. 1 lap to go. The breakaway, Bruno Langlois makes a go for it. The poster boy of the Tour de Beauce is 20th edition. He can win the final stage on the final Tour de Beauce for him. Made a go for it, but unfortunately that was not successful for him.
Yeah, that was a good move from Bruno Langlois to try it. It was about 2K to the finish, and he got a gap of 5 seconds, not more than that, because obviously James Piccoli and his teammate Jordan Cheney knew that they had to take as much time as possible to to try to have more time on Sergei Tvetkov, who were back in the field. So it was important for them to ride so hard. And it was a good thing for James to have Jordan Cheney with him from Team Canada because he was helping. And 2 laps to go, Daniel Whitehouse, who was very dangerous on the general classification, tried an attack. So it was a good time to try it because he had no choice. They were 2 in the same team. It took only not more than 19 seconds, and then Jordan Cheney chased back. Unfortunately, Jordan Cheney had a crash too, but he was so strong today, he was able to come back and to help James to get some more time.
Incredible effort from Jordan Cheney, who, despite a crash in the last couple laps, managed to get back on his bike and rejoin the breakaway. And he's the guy that actually went and caught Bruno. He's the guy that put the pressure on Bruno, trying to set up James Piccoli for its stage win today. At the finish line, Pierre-André Côté takes the sprint by a big margin. He attacked 250 meters to go, and nobody could even touch his sprint today. His second stage win here at the Tour de Beauce for the young guy from Silber Pro Cycling. James Piccoli, everybody at the finish had their stopwatches on, wanted to see, will he have enough? Will Tvetkov come back? Ultimately, the gap was still somewhere around 2 minutes at the finish. James Piccoli of the Canadian national team will win the yellow jersey. He won the crit yesterday. He took 46 seconds. Nobody thought yesterday after the crit, well, he's going to win. But James Piccoli today comes out on top, will win the general classification. In the white jersey, there was a tie, dead even tie. But Sergei Tvetkov, because he won the stage, the time trial stage on Friday morning, wins the tiebreaker and earns the white jersey. In terms of the red jersey, there was another change of hands today. Adam Roberge did not have a successful end of race today. Lost a bit of time.
So Thomas Revert, who was really a good contender also for the general classification, became the owner of the best young rider. So he's from Aixon Higgins Behrman. And the polka dots jersey also from national team, which they have a very successful race. Ben Perry just had his polka dot jersey. And we have to mention that James Piccoli is the first Québécois to win the Tour de Beauce since Jacques Landry in 1994. And the first Canadian since Ventoff in 2008.
And what a great storyline. Swain Tuff, part of this national team, comes back to Beauce, transition another Canadian into that win today. Thank you to Swain Tuff for coming and supporting the youth and supporting these young Canadian riders who are trying to make a mark. They had a strong team. We talked about it on day one, how the national team would cause some surprises, and they've done so at every stage. Kudos to Kevin Field, the Directeur Sportif for the national team. On this end of day, we'd like to thank all the volunteers who have joined us throughout the week. We'd like to thank all the partners, the Ville de Saint-Georges, the Ville de Québec, Hydro-Québec, Desjardins, for supporting this, and the Georgeville here, our headquarters, for supporting this race year in and year out. Without your support, we wouldn't be here today having the best of the UCI Americas racing in the street of Saint-Georges. On behalf of the organizing committee of the Tour de Beauce, thank you very much for following us this week, and we'll see you next year for the 34th edition of the Tour de Beauce.